to welcome everybody. Lots of people that haven't been here before. So this has been a process, folks. And we've gone from, in the first session, we looked at the travelling folk and their legacy of songs and stories in the countryside of Scotland. And all of these all these sessions will be on YouTube, so you can just subscribe and go on anything you've missed if you want to do that. The second one was all about the Doric and the language of this land and this where we're walking, and the folk that speak the Doric here and the Doric songs. And the third one was on lullabies and the beginning of life and the loss of children and the fairies, the songs associated with that. And then the next one was on the wounds of life, really. And we looked at songs that spoke to that. And now we're on the salve of the wounds of life. So you've ended up with a nice salve evening. But we can't look at the salve for the wounds of life without looking at the wounds of life themselves. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading I'm going to be telling some stories. I had to weave my own life. My whole life I've been singing. Since before I was born, I was singing. And I've woven songs. Songs have supported me, and stories have supported me my whole life. And so in many of the pivotal moments of my life, there's been songs. And I'm going to share as much of that with you as possible, because I realised today, as I'm doing all this journeying, that actually that it's the stuff of life, really. Everything in the human condition and how you resolve things is in the songs and in the stories. So I'm going to share some of them with you tonight. I'm going to start with a song that is a fairly typical song about addiction, about drunkenness, because that's one of the huge issues in our time. There won't be many people sitting here whose lives haven't touched those issues in some way, whether it's with your child who's now dealing drugs or whatever's going on, or your alcoholic mother, or your granny who's, whatever. It's in our lives, and there's huge amounts of wisdom in the songs and stories about these things. And I'm going to start with a very typical kind of song. Now, I'm not going to teach this song. I'm just going to sing it, because it's a very typical kind of song. It was collected from the Stuarts of Blair, who were a traveller family. They were one of the big source families of songs and stories. And I'm not going to teach this one, but you can see how you could use this song when you're working with children, with young people. It's called Mickey's Warning. Now, every time I sing something, I translate it, because meaning's so important, and meaning's fundamental to life, so meaning's fundamental in these songs. So this is Mickey's Warning. Welcome. You might have to sit on the floor, but don't worry about it. There's plenty of chairs. So this is Mickey's Warning. And it's a very typical story, and it talks of human suffering, violence. Friends, I have a sad story, a very sad story to tell. I married a man for his money, and he's worse than the devil himself. So I'll go and I'll get blue, bleezing, blind drunk, just to give Mickey a warning. And then, just for spite, I'll stay out all night and come rolling home drunk in the morning. What a solution to life. When Mickey comes home in the evening, he batters me all black and blue. And if I say a word, I get splattered from kitchen right bend to the room. Well, if whiskey, I've never been a lover. But what can a poor woman do? I'll go and I'll drown all my sorrows. How I wish I could drown Mickey too. So there's a bit of humour in there. But there's a hell of a lot of these songs all about drunkenness. And and they don't respect human beings in these songs very often. They've got what we do with the drunken sailor, for God's sake, God knows what happens to him, those kind of songs. And they're all about the human condition and the way that we as humans live. And I'll just quickly sing this because I'm not going to share it with you particularly, but I just to give you a flavour of it. Friends, I have a sad story, a very sad story to tell. I married a man for his money, and he's worse than the devil himself. So I'll go and I'll get blue, blazing, blind drunk, just to give Mickey a warning. And then, just for spite, I'll stay out all night and come rolling home drunk in the morning. When Mickey comes home in the evening, he batters me all black and blue. And if I say a word, I get splattered from kitchen right bend through the room. So I'll go and I'll get blue, blazing, blind drunk, just to give Mickey a warning. And then, just for spite, I'll stay out all night and come rolling home drunk in the morning. Well, of whiskey I've never been a lover, but what can a poor woman do? I'll go and I'll drown all my sorrows, how I wish I could drown Mickey too. So I'll go and I'll get blind, blazing, blind drunk, just to give Mickey a warning. And then, just for spite, I'll stay out all night and come rolling home drunk in the morning. So we're moving on. We're looking at this song, which is a typical of many of the songs about drunkenness, about disconnection from yourself, about getting blutered, and it's all sorts of language associated with it, and it's often in the songs glorified in some way, this behaviour. But I was thinking about the process of how do you deal with this, and what do the songs teach us about that? And I came across the song, and to be absolutely honest, I have never heard this song. I've never heard it in my life. And it's one of the most beautiful love songs I ever heard in my whole life. It's just beautiful. So I learnt it this week because I loved it. I just loved it. And this is a song which was collected in the Brig of Dawn, which is outside Aberdeen, from Mariah Robertson, and Ewan MacColl collected it, and it would have been, I don't know when he did it, maybe in the 60s. But this would have been part of Traveller lore over many, since, 1700s probably, this goes back to this song. And it's called The Alewife. And I want you to think about this song in relation to the process of change in human life, of human transformation. Because in this song, you have it speaks to something of the humanity of suffering, but the humanity of holding a situation. And I'm going to share this song. We're going to learn it because it's one of the most incredible songs. I just love this, and I'd love to work with, for example, I used to work a lot with children, young people with problems, and both those songs tell a completely different perspective on the same issue. This one's called The Alewife. Now, the alewives were women who brewed ale. They were actually female businesses. And they brewed ale, and at a time when water wasn't terribly reliable, the alewife is a really important kind of creature. But this is an alewife that's a drunken alewife. And just listen to the, I was like, oh, I just love it. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me. Oof. Deave means to bother me, make me upset and bother me. She deaves me, my wifey, my little woman. She's little, my wifey, wi her barley. Now her barley, a barrel is a barrel, but a barley in Scots is a little barrel, because she can't carry a big barrel, because she's just a wee wifey, and she's his wee wifey. See the love in that? She'll ruin and she'll leave me. She tacks her barrel on her back, her pint stoup in her hand. Her pint stoup is her pint of, for measuring out the ale, a pint pot in her hand. And she is to the market gain to tack up her stand. She goes into the market to set up her stand. And when that she comes home again, she'll wade through girse and corn. Corn is what she's making her, what's it's with, her ale with. Girse is, it's mostly a word that you use for grass, but in the area where that is, around Stonehaven, it's used for green herbs that they would put in there, anything that had green, it's a broader meaning. There's nuances of meaning everywhere in the language. So she wade through curse and corn, says, I mun hae another pint, though I mun dee the morn. She says, I'm going to have another pint before, if I die tomorrow, I'll have another pint. The alewife, the drunken wife, a roon, which is a roundabout, the folks all ken, everybody knows. I canna leave my wifey out among the men. I can't leave my drunken wife out amongst the men because she's vulnerable and I've got to go. So you'll be in the shebeens looking for her. And I'll bet you there's no fists when she gets home. You know, it's the beauty of the human condition, this. This is a man who is struggling with an intractable problem that so many people struggle with. You know, and here we've got something of the love that turns it around, the salve. So we're going to sing it. And because it's such a beautiful song and it's just, you know, I thought often it takes a wee while, there's a lag between my sharing the song with you and then it going on YouTube. But we talked about this and Craig's already got it on YouTube. So if you like this song, sing it because it's already on there. You can learn it like tomorrow if you want to. So I'm going to sing it now. And I'll sing it to you and then we'll get the chorus and we'll get it going. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me, my wifey, wi her barley. She'll ruin and she'll leave me. That's the song. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me, my wifey, wi her barley. She'll ruin and she'll leave me. That's all it is. Simple little song. She tacks her barrel on her back, her pint stoup in her hand, and she is to the market gain to tack up her stand. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me, my wifey, wi her barley. She'll ruin and she'll leave me. And when that she comes home again, she'll wade through girse and corn. Says, I mun hae another pint, though I mun dee the morn. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me, my wifey, wi her barley. She'll ruin and she'll leave me. The alewife, the drunken wife, a roon the folks all ken. I canna leave my wifey out among the men. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me, My wifey wi her barley, she'll ruin or she'll leave me. Oh, yeah, but you see, we have probably every life has touched this, you know, and here it is, and it's there's a fierceness and a dependability about this love that this man has. What a coothie! He's like Alfie's autumn crokies. He's a coothie creator. You know, the coothie. You weren't here when we had Alfie's autumn crocus, Mother's story about Alfie's autumn crocus, but there's a coothiness about this man, and somewhere in all of this is the kind of fierce love that turns these things around. There's, what is there in here? See all the little wee words? Her barley, right? B-A-R, barrel, her little barrel. But there's a kind of a love in that. You see, in the diminutive in the Scots is quiney, quinicky. Here, a cuppy of tea. Not have a cup of tea. Here, a cuppy. A little cuppy. It's kind of cuppy. Her barrel is a kind of barrel. You know, it's a barrel, but it's no, she can't carry a big barrel because she's needing to, you know, she's a wee woman, my wife, and what am I going to do? And I can't leave her out to be exploited by other folk. And I'm just going to do my best here. Ken what I mean? It's that kind of beautiful, just stalwart kind of thing. And that is what turns lives around. That quality of humanity, really. You know, more, coming back for more and more and more, and something shifts. And she's not going to be like the first woman that we sang about, because she has love in her life.
Lucky woman.
Yeah, she is lucky woman. Wouldn't mind meeting him. He wouldn't be in the shebeen, would he? He'd be outside watching where she's going. You know what I mean? What a lovely, lovely, lovely man. What a beautiful, beautiful song. And you know what? It's not, I've never heard this song before. It wasn't in the folk clubs when I was going to them. It wasn't, I've never heard it before. Ewan McCall collected it, but I've never heard it sung. And it's one of the most beautiful love songs because it carries it all. It's not, oh, I love you, love you, love you. It's the freaking hard life, hard work of love. This is real love. Yeah.
Caring.
Yeah, just caring and relentlessly. Yeah, the alewife, the drunken wife. It was like I was so grateful to feel this, to get this song. I don't know. I wasn't looking for it. It just came up when I was doing something else. And when I saw it, I thought, I don't know how I've lived my whole life and never heard that song, because I would have immediately picked it up on it, you know. So the alewife, the drunkard. Shall we sing it again and then we'll pass it by? But I've already got it up there so you can learn it, because it's what, if you want to learn it, because it's so worth thinking about in terms of, you know, sing it to the part of yourself that struggles. You know, we could all have been there. Some of us are there. Some of us have lived our childhood lives there in that land of disconnect. Anyway, let's sing it once more another time and then we'll move on. So the alewife. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me, my wifey wi her barley, she'll ruin and she'll leave me. She taks her barrel on her back, her pint stoup in her hand, and she is to the market gane to take up her stand. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me, my wifey wi her barley, she'll ruin or she'll leave me. And when that she comes hame again, she'll wade through gerson corn. Says I man hae another pint, though I man dee the morn. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me. My wifey wi her barley, she'll ruin and she'll leave me. The alewife, the drunken wife, a ruin the folks all ken. I canna leave my wifey out among the men. The alewife, the drunken wife, the alewife, she deaves me. My wifey wi her barley, she'll ruin and she'll leave me. Well done. And all my life I've worked professionally, I've worked with kids, and I work with some of the most difficult kids that, you know, I work with traumatized children, and it was an organization that we had, and we never said no to any child. And we never kicked any child out over years. That was them. And so children would come, and some of the children that would come were struggling hard with very intransigent problems. And the kind of human experience that children, the kind of ways that children express their human experience comes often in their artwork. And this is a piece of artwork that I had from a young boy. Not this one. Because I'm thinking about the woman in the first song, and I'm thinking about what it's like to be in that position. And this is a picture from a young boy of 9. Do you see that? This is a sunbeam in a maze. And there are all sorts of doors here. And there's hate and evil. And there's a little sunbeam in a maze. And the green lines are the doors, and they have certain significance. This young person was a young person who was probably one of the most challenging young people I ever worked with, because I knew if I went in with my toy boxes, which is what I work with lots of toys in it to help kids connect and tell me their stories through the play, I knew I'd get it over my head, so I didn't. I went into the room and he started. Now, this is a child that had wrecked other professional rooms. He'd just gone up and ripped the terribly professional cameras out of the corners of the rooms and threw them at the people that were watching it. You know, he wasn't an easy kid, and his family, his foster parents, we're going to be saying more about foster parents in another song, but his foster parents, it was 7,000 quid's worth of damage in their house. He just ripped doors off. He was just completely demented with fury and anger and distress. And nobody quite knew what had happened to this little boy. And anyway, I went into the room. I'll never ever forget this. I went into the room and he's standing there just waiting. I thought he might just attack me immediately, but he didn't. And so I said to him, what I said to most children, I said, you know, lots of children teach me a lot of things about angries, because they have lots of angries in their tummies. And I wondered, and he's throwing marbles at me and I'm dancing over the marbles, like this. And then I said to him, you know, children have lots of angries in their tummies, and sometimes I just wonder what would happen if I think I might know some ways, because children teach me a lot of things, I think I might know some ways of helping to maybe just make some space in there where there might be, where there'll be less angries in there might be a space. I said, if we could make a space in here for the angries, I said, what would you put in there? What do you think could be in there, in that space, where if we could just, and he did this to me, and looked at me like this and said, peace. Oh, I'll never forget it. Now this is, so I thought, okay, we're on it. And I'm still in this young man's life. He's now in his 40s. And he taught me huge amounts. And we had our song. And his song, so we played the game Lost in Devil Land constantly for months, years, because he'd had experiences that most people wouldn't even talk about or even know would exist. He'd been involved in all sorts of organised whatevers. And I'm not going to go into that tonight, but we played this Lost in Devil Land. And in the corner was a duvet, a green duvet. And this was the safe place. And when we got on the duvet, this is what we sang. His song. We are the goodies here. We don't have to live in fear. We are the goodies. We are the goodies. We are the goodies here. That's the song. That's our song. And I still sing it when I'm having a bad day and when there's people that aren't being that good. And, it's an amazing song. It's an uplifting song, and it turned our processes around that song. It was his song. And he'll be out there, and I'll tell him this is going on YouTube, and he'll be going, oh, Madge, but because, he has love in his life he had love in his life that turned him around. He had foster parents who still came back for more and more and more. And he has now got a beautiful partner who keeps coming back for a little bit more, but there's not so much of it. In fact, he's one of the best parents I now have met. I went down and had Christmas with him 3 years ago by invitation because, I want to come in. This is my life. So, and it's just a beautiful thing. And I don't forget this because we are the goodies here. It's such a turning point. So there's lots of ways of allowing sound and music to come into healing processes. That's just another one. It's not a traditional song, but I've got it in my blood. And any time I've sang with loads of kids since, because it's a great song. It's just a simple, it's his song, and he still sings it. And when he goes upstairs with his children now, put them to bed, they kiss the picture of his deceased foster mother, because he knows what kind of love he had in his life that turned it around. Yeah? So we're talking about healing processes and songs. I just want to throw that in because it's something very real in my life. And, it's something that when you live music, that's how you live it. I've never wanted to perform particularly. I've never wanted to go into folk clubs or whatever, because I don't think that music's for transmitting, it's for surviving, it's for living. It's not for being entertained particularly, although it's beautiful. I don't knock it at all, but it's just never been my path, really. This week, I was looking at a feed on the Scots language forum or something, and I saw this little poem, and I thought, my God, that is just exactly. And so I messaged the man who wrote this poem, and I said to him, can I read this? I'm doing this thing on traditional futurists. This man must be in his 90s. And I think of this, my stick. I'm taking my stick, Callum, to all my places that I go, because it's my talisman stick. I told him about the stick. This is. Do you want me to tell him about the stick? This is your granddad's stick, isn't it? He makes these amazing sticks. carved, and his poetry is absolutely stunning, this guy. I'm going to wait for the last session. I'm going to do one of his poems in the last session. That's my stick. And it's just a great thing to have as a companion. And he's carved all of that. And it's got, what has it got on it, Elaine? Key patterns. No.
It doesn't interlace.
Interlaced.
Over and unders.
Oh, and over and unders, Pictish patterns on there.
Celtic.
Mm-hmm. And this man now is elderly, and he's now has Alzheimer's, so we can't do this anymore. And there's something beautiful about having something that's so quintessentially made with reverence, a piece of our tradition that's woven in to a stick. I just love it. So anyway, this is a George White. Now I think he must be in his 90s. And I'm going to send him this link because I told him I was doing this. And I'll translate it because he's done it in the Doric. He says, this is a poem. Tak this for me. Take this from me. Tak this for me, lass, and keep it safe, deep buried, and ticht again the pounding o' your blood. Take this from me, lass, and keep it safe, deep buried, and tight against the pounding of your blood. When I am gone, let it bide there for you in bad times and good. It's truth unquestioned. Know this, that even unborn you are loved, and frae that time on were loved a good sight mair than life itself. As you grow ever older and leave us, taking passage on life's fickle seas, being cast about back and for't, fae hurt scuds cruel and to happier times, mind, just you mind, how you were loved. Don't forget, so I'm going to translate it. But it's basically saying to his daughter, just know how you were loved. Don't ever, ever question it, and don't ever, ever second guess it. And he's saying, take this from me, lass, and keep it safe, deep buried and tight against the pounding of your blood. Tight against the pounding of your blood. When I am gone, let it bite, let it live, let it be there for you in bad times and good. It's truth unquestioned. Know this, that even unborn you were loved, and from that time on were loved a good sight more than life itself. As you grow ever older and leave us, taking passage on life's fickle seas, being cast about backwards and forwards, from heart scuds, from heart batterings, cruel and happier times, remember, just you remember how you were loved. And it's the forgetting of that that's the addiction cycle. This one is a little song that it's a song that I knew when I was growing up. It's a sweet little song. It's called Smile in Your Sleep. And it's not necessarily the song itself, but it's the circumstances of the song that is transformative and how it's used. And I'll sing it. It's a song about the Highland clearances. And the words are, hush, hush, time to be sleeping. Hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping. Dreams of peace and of freedom. So smile in your sleep, bonny Bernie. Once our valleys were ringing with sounds of our children singing, but now our sheep bleat till evening, and sheilings lie empty and broken. I'll translate it a bit. We stood with our heads bowed in prayer, while factors laid our cottages bare. The flames fired the clear mountain air, and many were dead in the morning. Where was our proud Highland mettle, our men once so famed in battle, now stand cowed, huddled like cattle, and wait to be shipped o'er the ocean? No use pleading or praying, now gone, gone, all hopes of staying, so hush, hush, the anchors are weighing, don't cry in your sleep, bonnie Bernie. And it's got a really lovely little Gaelic tune. And it's a nice song. It's not been. It's to the tune of the Mist-covered Mountains, and it was a guy. And it's not. It's not an old song, but it's often the circumstances of the song and what it can hold and carry that is the transformative healing. So in this situation, I've been doing quite a lot of keening, which is visceral, trying to get to the visceral sounds that cannot be made without that are upon which there's an embargo, really. You know, the grieving, the real visceral women's grieving, and men's grieving, but the sounds of grief. And I've been working with Pibroch, and that's another chapter of my life, and I'm not going to do it here, but. Because I'm going to touch on it next week, but I'm not going to do the deep keening sounds. But about 3 or 4 years ago here was a tragedy of a young woman, very bright young woman, I think, intellectually very bright, and she went missing, and then she was found. Hanged, I think, dead. The family were holding a vigil, and I was asked if I would go and do the keening. And when I got to the place, it was clear that timing is everything, and that wasn't the time for that. So the family were all round the coffin. The young woman was in her coffin, and mothers and sisters and everyone around, and they wanted to sing. They really wanted to sing. And so I decided to sing, not to do the keening, but to sing Dream Angus with them. So I sang Dream Angus, which I'd already done in one of the previous sessions. And then the mother said to me, "Do you know this song? Do you know Hush, Hush, Time to Be Sleeping?" I said, "Yeah, I do." "Will you sing it?" I said, "Yeah, I will. Yeah, we'll sing it." She says, "I used to sing it to my children." So we stood round the coffin of this young woman and sang this song. And we sang it and sang it and sang it. And in those moments, the song held the grief. And it built a thread from the whole of this young woman's life to now. And now it was time for sleeping. So I'll sing it to you, and we can just sing it. We can just do the chorus. I'll put it up, but smile in your sleep. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping. Hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping. Dreams o' peace and o' freedom. So smile in your sleep, bonnie Bernie. Those are very beautiful funeral sentiments, aren't they? I often think about what I'd like from a funeral. Next week, I'm going to sing both my parents for some incredibly interesting, not incredible, but just extraordinary reasons. They have both the songs. They both have songs associated with their funerals. But we had to live it all. And that was one of the biggest privileges of my life, to be able to sing my parents out. because they sang me in. My mother sang me in. And she was singing to me in the womb. So to sing your parents out is such a beautiful thing. Because, as Stanley says, it's in the walls, it's in the trees, vibrations everywhere. You know, just drink it in and tack it out, Bonnie. Stanley Robertson. Stanley Robertson, yeah. I've been quoting him all the way through because, Stanley's an amazing guy. Because he gave me a song, he gave me the first song I started with, which was Pooh and Bracken. So anyway, so hush, hush, time to be sleeping. Now, I wouldn't normally sing this song, but in this context, it's completely changed for me. I don't sing this song in the same way again after I've lived this. Because it takes me to a place of transition, of holding, of loving, of a life that's although the tragedy of this is a tragedy, there were threads through this whole experience that held it in the song. The sisters all sang it. They'd all sung it with their mum. How beautiful is that? You know, how beautiful is that? So it's a lovely wee tune. So it goes, hush, hush, time. Now I'm going to get it into I'm going to do it in a lullaby type voice, not in the, hail life, the drunken one. No, we're not doing it in that kind of voice, see, because it's all, yeah. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping, hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping, dreams of peace and of freedom, so smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. Once o'er valleys were ringing wi' sounds, oh, children singing, but now our sheep bleat till evening, and sheilins lie empty and broken. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping, hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping, dreams of peace and of freedom, so smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. We stood wi' heads bowed in prayer, while factors laid our cottages bare. The flames fired the clear mountain air, and many were dead in the morning. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping, hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping, dreams of peace and of freedom, so smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. Where was our proud Highland metal, our men once so famed in battle, now stand cowed, huddled like cattle, and wait to be shipped o'er the ocean. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping, hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping, dreams of peace and of freedom, so smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. No use pleading or praying, now gone, gone, all hopes of staying, so hush, hush, the anchors are weighing. Don't cry in your sleep, bonny Benny. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping. Hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping. Dreams, oh, peace and of freedom. So smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. It's really amazing how songs can be such companions in life, isn't it? How you remember things in your life depending on what the songs around them were. Yeah. Hush, hush, time. Should we do this one again? Do the chorus again so that you get it? Hush, hush, time to be sleeping. Hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping. Dreams, oh, peace and of freedom. So smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping. Hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping. Dreams, oh, peace and of freedom. So smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. Hush, hush, time to be sleeping. Hush, hush, dreams come a-creeping. Dreams, oh, peace and of freedom. So smile in your sleep, bonny Benny. Far away beyond the mist on the cool high ben was Dream Angus, maker of dreams. And he opened up his heart, and from it came a voice, and it was the voice of a woman, and it was all of him. And she kissed the wind with her song, and it carried softly down the steep corries to the valleys below. And in the song the wind carried were the rich brown pools of the peatlochans, and the orange flame of the rowans in August, the taste of the honey on the heather, and the gentle green of the soft young bracken in spring when it was first new. And the soft breeze carried the melodies like gossamer wings to the empty, jagged crevices and the cold, stony, broken places that never knew the light of the sun. And the clean, kind notes smoothed the drab, rocky outcrops and filled the empty greyness with the gentle pink glow of a summer dawn. So if you think of the energy of that song, Smile in Your Sleep, in that situation, there's something of that eternal thread that's happening. And it's happening in the music, and it's happening. This little piece I wrote came to me when I was having my own internal enormous struggles, and during that time in my own life, I was in a psychiatric hospital, and I was psychotic. Apparently, according to the doctors, I thought I was doing grand, really. But anyway, every day, songs, songs, songs. I'm lying in my bed singing at the top of my voice in this terribly posh clinic. But anyway, it was very posh. But anyway, very nice. But I got all of these songs. They were just like, brr, brr, brr. And I got lots of, and they were all to Hebridean tunes, and they were all beautiful language. And I never did anything with them. I thought, they're really just for me. And then as I get older in my life and thinking about, maybe it's the back end, as my mother would say, the back end of my life, I think maybe I should do something with these things and pass them on, because there were some much beautiful songs. And so that's going to be the next chapter. I'm going to put them out. And you're going to hear one of them tonight. But I've got to do things like go to PRSs and performing rights and fill in boxes and get them whatever, doing whatever. But what the hell? But I'm going to sing one of them tonight to you. But what I wanted to do before that, really, was really to read you one of my mother's poems. Because this is the eternal threads that run through life. And in the last, my mother talks about this in her poem, but she talks about it in a different way to how I'm talking about it, but it's exactly the same thing. It's about the eternal threads of music and song and sound and vibration, and how it changes, how just drink it in and tak it out, Bonnie. That's all you have to do. Just follow Stanley's advice on this, Stanley Robertson. Some of you weren't here, but you'll see it on the first, because I read it out numerous times. Stanley Robertson, it's about, he was one of the travelling folk, and I knew him when I was at university, and he was just great. He was so kind to me, and he gave me songs, and we talked to each other. I gave him some of my family's songs that he didn't know, and and one of the things he talks about is about allowing a song to come through you and taking it out, Bonnie. Don't have to think about it. It doesn't matter what it sounds like. It's just a companion, and you can share it. And if you sing it enough times, you can sing it okay, and you can put it out to other people if you want to. But it's a precious, precious gift. And my mother wrote numerous poems, and I'm going to read this one. This is in the Doric, so I will translate it. But it's very interesting, this, because it speaks to the same thing. Now, I will. So it's in the Gaelic language. You in the Gaelic-speaking regions, people would have patronyms, isn't it? Where you'd be son of John, son of James, son of so and so, and you would know who you were in the land because you knew who your ancestors were, and it was embroidered into your thinking. And you'd have the clan song often sung to you as a bairn, so you would know who you were you knew who your place. And so this is my mother wrote this one of her poems. I love this because she's bang on. But, she's got she's got smed on my mother, mother wit. She just, okay, mother, I get it, Yeah, that kind of thing. And she says, this is a poem of hers from a wee book called Awafe Ballater. She came from Ballater and she wrote books. This is one of her books. She wrote various books. This is place names of Upper Dee side, so all the Gaelic place names, because our ancestors would all have been Gaelic speaking. So I've got it in my genes, but I just don't have it in my mouth. And many people here will have it in their genes, but no in their mouth, because we lost it. Son of John, son of James. So this is in broad Doric. So I'll speak it. I'll tell you in the Doric, and then I'll translate every bit of it. Because this is a healing song. Now you won't know. This is a healing song. That's the connection, just in case you. in the clan system, fostering. I work with many children who were fostered, and this young boy was one of those that I talked about. But in the clan system, now we see fostering very much associated with family breakup and not being able to live with your own parents and that kind of thing. In the clan system, it wasn't like that. You gave your son to be brought up by the clan chief of the next clan in order to foster kinship networks. So that was something that was a pattern of behaviour, and it was written in. So this is about a foster mother. And there's a song with this as well. I'll lairdy cad Donald, son of John, son of James, for Eriskie's Isle come through the fords o' bonny Bunbecula for to sort out some Harris MacLeods that were raking about in North Uist and lifting his knout. Right, so I'll translate that. A laird was part of the nobility. He had power in the region. A laird called Donald, son of John, son of James, from Eriskie's Island, from Eriskey, out of Hebrides, came up through the fords of bonny Bunbecula, so it's one of the other islands. He came up from Bunbecula to Eriskey for to sort out some Harris MacLeods, to have a bit of a tiff, a battle with some Harris MacLeods, some MacLeods who were coming down from Harris, that were raking about in North Uist, they were marauding around the place in North Uist and stealing his cattle, lifting his knout. So he was going to sort them out. The chiel got an arrow recht into his fit. Guy said it had been. He was scarling with pain. So the local spey wifey and maker of songs turned out with a chorus of Eriskey quines to sing as the thing was drawn out. So the young man, the chiel, the chap, the young man, got an arrow right into his foot. Very sore it had been. And he was screaming in pain. So the local spey wifey, the local wisdom woman, and maker of songs, turned out with a chorus of Eriskey girls to sing as the thing was drawn out. Her song, I've got to go back in the Doric now. Her song ca'd him hero and tell to his fame. He was fragrant and noble and fearless, she sang, as if he'd been victor at some Waterloo. But Molana, she says, has need of me new. We'll put heart in this hinging lug loon. Right, so, what did she say? So, her song called him a hero and told of his fame. They're singing about his fame and his heroic deeds. He was fragrant and noble and fearless, she sang. As if he'd been victor at some Waterloo, as if he'd won the Battle of Waterloo. But Molena, my darling, she said, has need of me now. We'll put heart in this young man with the droopy ears, who's not terribly stalwart, who's a bit whiffy, a bit kind of, what do you call the word in English? A bit upset about this and losing courage. And she was going to sing him, so she's singing all this songs to him, singing this song to him about how courageous and wonderful. Now the world has forgotten the doon-hearted chiel, son of John, son of James, yet the song still appeals. A favourite yet, it's stirring to hear, even now, after gae near 400 year. Yon wifey kent what she was doing. So, now the world has forgotten the down-hearted young man, son of John, son of James, yet the song still appeals. A favourite yet, It's stirring to hear. Even now, after nearly 400 years, that wifey, that woman, knew what she was doing. Clan heroes are mostly forgotten the day, with the false pride and the daft ballyhoo. Tin pot chieftains and have been cut down to size, but the alwifey's sang can still take a prize. Runrig rocks it out new. So, right, so clan heroes are mostly forgotten now, today, with all the false pride and the stupid nonsense. Tin pot chieftains and all have been cut down to size, but the old woman's song can still take a prize. Runrig rocks it out to us now. Now remember Runrig, right? I'll sing you the song. I can't, I'll just diddle it because I don't know the Gaelic. Daddle dee deetle dee deetle dee idle deetle dee fallalilo fallalilo I daddle dee diddle dee diddle deedle diddle die diddle die diddle die diddle diddle deedle dee die diddle die die diddle die. It became a rock song. I mean, you can hear it in the Gaelic. I think it's a great tune. And that tune speaks of that event 400 years ago. We've forgotten the clan chief, but my God, have we still got the tune? There you go. That's the story. That's the traditional future. We're singing that song now. Runrig made it into. I love the way Runrig did it. To be honest, I thought it was great. It was full of passion. I never knew the story, and because I don't have the Gaelic, so I had to go and get the Gaelic get the Gaelic translated into English. But Gaelic doesn't translate into English well. It translates into Scots much better, but not into English. So I never really knew that story. I would listen to them, Runrig singing that and having a great time, but I wouldn't know what the hell they were singing because it was Gaelic. And most people in the room here wouldn't have known either. But we loved the song. We loved the passion in the song. That was what it was about. And that is an example of a Scottish healing song, if you want to just think about it. Because he's getting the blood, he's in the. If you go into the translation of the actual song, it's a different. Runrig do it like that, but some of the other Gaelic singers don't do it in the same way. And it's a beautiful tune, and it's with us still. And you would never believe that was the story of it, would you? Really? I was listening to. Watching Shane McGowan's funeral of the Pogues. I think I spoke about this. And what he talks about is it's all out there. It's in the air. That's why it's called airs. So what you do is you pluck the air, and you pluck it before Paul Simon gets hold of it. How good is that? It's there. It's all there. It's just there. In one of the sessions, we talked about how rhythm works on the physical, melody on the emotions, harmony on the mind, and stillness on the soul. And often I would have children coming in to the playroom, and they would come in and they were devastated little people. Their infrastructure was devastated. They'd had huge amounts of distress and trauma in their small lives. And I often saw them as little birds with broken wings, really. And and this is what they were a bit like. This is a little person, and she looks like she's just an ordinary little person. She's got quite a smiley face, but you know what? If we ask her, we always do ask, if we can just open her tummy like this, we can see that actually deep inside this little girl, there's another little girl. Oh, and she's crying. Oh, she's all crying inside. Oh, I wonder what happened to make her such a sad little girl. Now sometimes, well, she's the ale wife, the drunken wife. She's so many facets of life are in this, and maybe we could draw her tears. We used to sometimes draw her tears, and then we would understand something of the story. And sometimes we would sing her tears. And so I'm going to put her back now. She did an awful lot of work all over the world, and I didn't dream her up. I was teaching at something, and this woman got up with 2 sticks, and she started walking down the middle. I had about 100 people in the room, and this woman starts stomp, 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 and it's a wooden floor, and everybody's turned around, and she says, "I want to help you." I said, "Well, thank you very much, thank you," and that's how she said it. I was very seldom in Scotland. I was mostly other places, but this was in the south of Scotland. She said, "I'm a toy designer." And she said it like that. I said, "Oh, thank you." She'd lived a life that I was describing, and this is what she made. We worked on it together. I'm not going to go into this part of it tonight, just this part, because there's more in here. So many children were, all over the world, were supported by this dog. Not supported, but they were able to tell their stories. But she made this, and we designed it together. I knew what I needed, and she made it. And then the Americans have it. They patented it. I wasn't needing it. I just took it with me everywhere. We made 1 or 2 different kinds of one. This is the only one I have now. But so we're crying tears, really. But often you don't have access to your tears. And if you can be supported in sound to open to tears, it's an enormously healing process. So this little girl, if I'll just put her here again, and I'm going to sing the Fluttering Bird song, and this is this is one of the songs that came in after I knew I was going to leave my life's work. I thought this was my life's work, but it didn't turn out to be completely my life's work. I had to move to the next chapter because that was what life said. So I did, and I was in an incredible state, really. But these songs were coming in thick and fast, and one of the songs that came in was the Fluttering Bird song, and the words are. They all came to Hebridean tunes that I had in my head. O fluttering bird, your wing bent and broken, eyes restless with tears before words are spoken. I offer you now a nest of white satin. Lie safe in my arms till the morning comes. When the stormy winds came, were you lashed on the shore? Did you lie all alone, bruised, battered and sore? When the darkness came down, did you cry out in vain? Lie safe in my arms till the morning comes. Your strength will return. Soar high on the wind. May your heart beat forever. Your song fill the sky. Feel my breath on the sun, my light. Feel my breath in the clouds, my light in the sun. Lie safe in my arms till the morning comes. And so I sang this song to various people in different subsequently, but I've never sung it. I've never put it out. And it's to a Hebridean tune. And the last piece of the tune is a pibroch lament type, but this is the bird soaring really. So I'll just sing it to you. I'm not going to ask you to. I'm not going to. I'll put it out eventually. I'll put it out, but I won't. I mean, you're welcome to learn it. But what I mean is, it's not got a chorus. It's just a. It's just a song. For the process, for the purpose of healing. Just have to be still when I'm doing this. Oh, fluttering bird, your wing bent and broken, eyes restless with fear before words are spoken. I offer you now a nest of white satin. Lie safe in my arms till the morning comes. When the stormy winds came, were you lashed on the shore? Did you lie all alone, bruised, battered and sore? When the darkness came down, did you cry out in vain? Lie safe in my arms till the morning comes. Your strength will return, soar high on the wind. May your heart beat forever, your song fill the sky. Feel my breath on the clouds, my light in the sun. Lie safe in my arms till the morning comes. Lie safe in my arms till the morning comes. These are not human arms. They're much bigger arms than that. Well, they might be human arms, but they're also eternal arms, really. Or arms of the divine. And it's the same as this George White's talking about. Don't forget that, that we're all held. And the songs are just reminders of that, in some ways. I'm just noticing, actually, I was explaining to you about harmony. And I realised that we've got some people here who can sing harmonies. And I thought I would do this. It would be just great if we did, really. So I'm going to tell another story now. And I'm just going to burst into song, and we're all just going to burst into it, if we can. Because I've not had the opportunity to do that. We haven't been able to do that. It's just I've been able to just sing myself and with you. And we did a bit of harmonies in the second one, I think, when we did the Wild Mountain Time. But it was during all the experiences in the playroom with children and the fluttering birds of this world that I began to see that human harmony, because the sounds the children made at the beginning of their process were very dissonant. The sounds of suffering. And as time went on, there was a sweetening and a harmonization that took place. And I heard it, but I never understood it. And I was asking, I was all over the place writing books and trying to understand the processes of healing. And I knew they were manifest in sound, but I didn't understand how. And there was nothing in the textbooks, really. And so after I moved on from the work, I knew that I wanted to carry on this journey. And that took me back here, and then it took me to a workshop that Ian was at. And he did a misprint in the brochure. Honestly, this is the truth. And there was a little misprint on this. So after I'd done all of this, I no longer was doing it. And suddenly my life was totally different. And I had to go into the desert for a while, like you're required to do sometimes in life. And I didn't do it kicking and screaming. I eventually settled down and stopped the kicking and screaming. And I kept wanting to get deeper into the music because I knew some of the answers were there. And so I'd go up to listen to the monks singing, and I thought it would be great if I could hear the monks singing. I'd go and sit in Pluscarden and listen to the monks singing, but I couldn't be a monk. And anyway, I was, because they were men, and I couldn't do that. So I thought to myself, right, now, I saw this little booklet, and there was a little workshop in Newbold House here, and it was Gregorian polyphonic sound and the spiritual voice. I thought, that'll do me. Gregorian polyphonic sound. Maybe I'll get to sing like the monks. So I hoofs up to this, and it was some kind of very bizarre stuff that I'd never heard in my life. It wasn't Gregorian, and if I'd really thought about it, Gregorian isn't polyphonic. It's just one. So it wasn't Gregorian polyphonic. It was Georgian, because there was a misprint in the brochure. Honestly. And as I'm having a mild temper tantrum, I've got to give you the fine pieces. My God, I forgot the fine pieces. We'll do the fine pieces at this point. We have fine pieces. This is my granny's shortbread. Now this is, sorry, just before we get into this story, because we're going to have the fine pieces. In my granny's house, everybody would get a fine piece. So this is called tack up a fine piece, because it's just a metaphorical fine piece as well as a piece of fine piece. Now, I've got a big confession to make. I'm not the best at this particular fine piece. We've had clooty dumplings, which went bad. We had tablet. Oh my God, that was good stuff, wasn't it, Ian? It was great.
First week we had clooty dumpling.
Clooty dumpling.
Second week we had Scottish tablet.
Scottish tablet. The third week, what did we have?
We have an apple cake.
Oh yeah, no, Sandra brought an apple cake last time, wasn't we? So we had a Ukrainian apple cake last.
Oat cakes with.
Oat cakes with jam. Oh, that was good. And butter, lots of butter and jam, homemade jam and oat cakes. The good oat cakes, yeah. So this time I've made just some shortbread. I'm not bad at shortbread, but when it comes to the gluten-free, it was like the surface of the moon. I'd never seen anything like it in my. So I've got surface of the moon gluten-free shortbread for the gluten-free people, and normal shortbread for the people. And please tack up a fine piece and have a bit of shortbread before we start the next episode of our lives. And Ian's got. Oh my God, you are such a star.
Madge, I've made a cake from brambles collected last September from the road going down to Kinloss.
Ian,
So
Not staging you.
how good is it? Totally. I mean, you can. Right, so I was thinking about, we're just about nearing our ending time, and I thought to talk a little bit about this kind of quest for understanding how human harmony worked and how it was manifest in sound. And I ends up at this workshop, and and there's a guy teaching from Paris, a lovely guy called Frank Kane, who's teaching this music, and I'm thinking, this is the sounds of my kids. My God, what's going on? And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, but I've booked up for this, and I thought, what is this? I mean, what is this? What is this? And I thought, I've heard this before. I know these songs. How? And I'm going, what? And I'm going, what the hell is this? Suddenly it was called Georgian because there was a misprint in the brochure. And I thought it was singing slave songs or something from the deep south. I was so ignorant because, anyway, I was. And suddenly I'm hearing all the sounds, and I'm hearing a lot of the sounds I've heard before in dissonance. In the dissonance of my life, but also the sounds that the children would make. I'm thinking, this is just amazing. How does this working? And it was almost like, thank you, God. I think I'm meant to be here. I better go and find out what's going on in that country then, because therefore the next chapter of my life opened up, because I was going to explore the harmonies. I was going to go to the country. I was going to go up the mountains. Now, I can sing with anybody. I was singing in the Tinker's Bivvies, when I was 3. So I can go and sing with anybody. I don't have to have a hymn sheet. I can't read music. Neither do I want it. There's an interference in my head. What am I looking at this? I can't look at. I'm singing. No, thanks. So I gets myself into the Caucasus, and the next chapter of my life was studying, and I was interested in particularly in how they understood their healing songs, because I understood that harmony. So we're on 3 levels now. We're on rhythm, we're on melody, which we get lots of in our songs. We don't get so many harmonies. But in the pipes, it all is. In the pipes, you've got the drone, you've got it's all happening there musically, but they're not so much singing it. So what's going on? And I couldn't, I'm not a music scholar, but I just knew what I was. I just knew where I was going, kind of thing. So I would sit and learn the songs. I'd go to the songmasters, and then I'd write an article about it, because I was interested. I wanted to understand how they saw things. And one of the beautiful old guys in one of the villages said to me, "Our music's for sweetening the soul." There you have it. And so, yeah. And so I spent quite a lot of time trying to understand their songs to the spirits, going and all over learning and thinking and doing. And I saw what was happening to their music, which is what had happened to my own when I was a kid. It had gone into commercialisation and plundering and taking out and using and making money out of, and
And performance.
And performance, yeah. And performance, Bill, yeah. So, so lots of things happened, but I spent some time trying to bridge that, because I knew that if I'd understood some of what I was understanding now when I was working with children, I could have done something different. I can still do that, because Joy of Joys, that journey through the harmonics in that country took me back here to the harmonics in my own cultural landscape, to the harmonics in the pipes, and our sounds that are about hold it in the pipes. Our pipe laments are for holding grief. That's their function. Worldwide, they're known for that. But what is actually going on in them? What is it, you know? And where is the feminine and the masculine balance in it? So I was very interested in that. And it's taken me back into our keening tradition and our pibroch tradition. But if I can, we've got people here who can sing Georgian music. And I was going to just maybe ask if we could sing Varado and tell the story of Varado, because it fits very nicely into this. And I can tell what I know of the story, because there's always stories associated with songs, usually. You never get a song without a story. Somebody's lived something that they put into a song. And this is a Georgian song, and if I just belt it, if I just start it, other voices will come in and you'll hear it, because they know what they're doing. And we'll just find a way, because it'll happen, like it would in any gathering of Georgians, but we have enough people here who know a bit about that, who can do it by complete fluke. I had it in my head, I wondered if enough people would come that we could do it, and I'm thrilled to bits we've got enough people that can do it. So if we can say that, so the story of this song, and just think about this one. This is a big story. The story is of, as from what I remember, two brothers who are up in the mountains. I think they're hunting, and the mist comes down, and they're on a ledge. Me on a ledge. I think about Sandy Denny. But anyway, they're on a ledge, and one of them, the younger brother and the older brother, and one of them is too terrified to move because the mist's down, and they're gonna. If there's a big abyss. One of the brothers starts berating his brother. You're just a useless toe rag and la la la, and actually your kids aren't yours; they're mine, actually. But you didn't know that, did you? So this man, consumed by fury, manages to claw his way off the cliff, and the pair start to make their way back down. And on the way down, this younger brother, who's consumed with fury, gets his revenge, and he pushes his brother off the cliff to his death, and then goes home and speaks to the mother, and the mother says to him, "Where's your brother?" And he says, he betrayed me, and I've killed him." And she says something like, "How do you know he wasn't saving your life?" At which point the second brother goes and does the same thing, jumps off a cliff, and that's the end of both brothers. Interesting story, but that's the story of the song. And this is the song. wa-da-da-dee. Thank you. It's a beautiful place for that song at the end of tonight. Thank you. It's so lovely that we could do that. Okay.
Thank you, Madge Bray, for such a tour of Scottish soul and your history and part of it.
Thank you, Ian. It's deep. And it's time. You know, we have so much rootlessness. We need to find our roots. And there's so much. It's all in the songs. I don't know if I don't know who's on Zoom tonight, but one of the people that I've suddenly been corresponding with as a result of doing this is a man in Chicago who is spending his life. It's just extraordinary. His spoken Scots is exquisite, beautiful. He's singing Burns songs, but he's delving into the original manuscripts and he's delving into all the sounds, you know, of Scotland, because he's a Scot from generations back. He's doing his root work. He's finding who he is. It's obvious to me. And one of the things I said, when I found this song, I said, do you know this song? And I don't think he did, actually. But I mean, he knows most of our songs and a whole lot more. And he knows all the original Burns, Robert Burns's original. He put this to this tune, and then he's in this archive it tells you that, and then this tune, and then the next tune. And Burns didn't, you know, the Burns songs that we know are not necessarily the songs that Burns wrote them to, but he's done years of research, not just because he loves it so much. And I just think what a service to our music that he's doing. But it's just amazing how these songs live, how they've lived in us. It's just the most beautiful thing. And for me, I'm now working, I've been asked to be a trustee of a charity, which is called Growing Together, and it's an extraordinary charity, and I'm honoured to do it. Because all my skills with kids, you know, so I pitches up this week to an event they were doing where they take children, young people who are struggling at school and don't want to be there, and they mentor them, and then they put them into nursery classes with little 4-year-olds who are struggling, and the children become wisdom keepers, and they steward the progress of these young children.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's not just sweet, it's inspirational. I mean, it's inspirational thinking, it's joined up thinking. And these children So I'm speaking to these kids. I just love doing this. And I'm thinking, God, I could. Do you know what I'd do? I'd go up there. I mean, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I think if I can, I'll use those two songs, the alewife, the drunken wife, and I'll use the first song, the beat you up your wife song, and we'll chew the fat on that. And we'll see who goes when their mates are tripping and on acid or whatever they're doing. They're getting dragged out of places. Who goes and looks after them and who doesn't, and we'll explore all of that. Because it's all in the songs. It's not, we've done it all before. The alewife, the drunken wife, she, often she was these women, not often, but in some instances, these women, because they could change. You see, what they put in the booze could change your function, couldn't it? Really. So, they were a bit witchy, and sometimes they were persecuted for that. Because there's a bit mystery there. If you're cooking up the whatsits and flogging your ale, you don't know what you're putting in it, really. So and everything between these two. Look at the material that's in these two songs, just for working with young people. It's just wonderful. I'd love to do something. I'm going to see if I can do something like that, because I love working with inspiration, and there's inspiration in these songs. What's this guy? I'd love to meet him. What would he look like? This guy who's such a sweet soul. He's taken more crap than he's had hot dinners, and he's coming back for more. And he's going to be round the shebeens next week, dragging her out, making sure she's okay, and taking her home. And then, the next day it's all the same. But he's there. What a beautiful thing is that? What an honourable thing. God, you could do so much with that, just with children. If I one of the kids, it was just great. I just love it. And we're all sitting there listening to the presentation. These kids have never done anything like this before, and one of them says, well, I was in the class and they took me out the class and I thought, oh my God, mere therapy. That's what he said. Well, I thought I was going for therapy. Oh no. Sing a few songs with the kids. You get all the therapy you need. Bill, you know all about this, don't you? I mean, yeah.
No, I can't touch you. No.
Oh, Bill, come on.
Scratching the surface. Oh. What I wanted to say was, I really liked what you said about the. It needed you to go to Georgia, as it were, to then come back and discover your own.
Yes.
And I've just witnessed you honouring your Doric roots again, and then the people rocking you work with Alan, and all that. And I think that's happening for a lot of people in different ways. It's like a lot of people back in the 70s into the Native American spirituality, or other folk music. Because the English didn't have any folk music, did we?
You did, Lord.
There's so, but we dismiss this, especially in England. England is the worst.
Yeah.
But it required us to sort of find our own spirituality in some foreign culture.
Yes.
The Georgian or the Native American or Indian.
And people still do that all the time.
But then coming, you see more and more people coming back and celebrating their own rooted culture.
Exactly, Bill.
And that seems to be a really
that's so important
and powerful thing,
Yeah. Next week I'm going to talk a bit about that, because the language you grieve in. That's the key, but we'll be doing that next week. I'm not going to go into that this week, but yeah. Blessings on all of you. Thank you so much. So many people coming. I mean, it's wonderful, and thank you for being here.